So for roll call, we have everybody here, including our new member. And we are going to have one announcement, executive session. We did have an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss some personal student matters. And we're going to move on to first public comment. I don't have anything here. Does anybody have any comment? Do I have anything online for public comment? All right, then we're going to move on to presentations.
At this time, I'd like to invite to the podium our Pottsgrove High School Falcon Marching Band Director, Ms. Ellie Zarafos. Please, Ms. Zarafos. Yep.
Okay. Hello. Oh, there we go. All right. Wow. This is my first one. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the school board, Dr. Finnerty, for having us come speak tonight and celebrate such a great accomplishment by our students. This weekend, history was made for the marching band and for Pottsgrove. This has been the first time since 2012 that the Pottsgrove High School marching band has placed first in finals. This past season, our marching band went completely undefeated. The band placed first during finals and swept all captions, including a 2-year undefeated record in percussion and color guard. So this makes us first in the state of Pennsylvania for American A-class band. Not only did the marching band sweep all captions, but they're currently the highest recorded score since the division's creation in 1970. The score is 94.325 out of 100 possible points. So, you know, a band is not proud because it performs well. It performs well because it is proud. And these students truly live by the motto, passion, grit, skill, and discipline. This year, the band endured lots of heat, lots of cold, early mornings, late nights. They practiced during the summer, on rainy days and weekends, and when all of their friends who are not in band asked them to come hang out, it was always met with, "I can't, I have marching band." It's that kind of dedication and hard work that has allowed us to be where we are today. It's the extra hours put in by the students, staff, and parents that have allowed us to be state champions. So I wanted to take a minute and thank my amazing staff, Gary Houck with percussion, Crystal Butler, color guard, Ava Hawks, color guard, Jamie Elliott, our visual staff, Hannah Guffey, my assistant band director, who is not here tonight. We also have Ryan Mitchell, Jordan Taylor, and Mason Vetter, all Pottsgrove graduates who came back to help us out this season. And just, I think that's mostly everybody. Oh my God, yeah, my woodwinds, Grace Kerr. They just are phenomenal staff. I couldn't have asked for a better team to be working with them the past couple of years, and Dream Team is coming back next year. I don't think we're losing anybody. So, it's gonna be a good one. So we're super excited about that. But I also wanted to take a minute to thank our music league teachers, custodial staff, Steve Onspach, and any other community members who have helped the marching band this season, whether that was moving equipment, fundraising, or just simply opened a door to help us exit the building. Without them doing what we do would not be possible. So another shout out to Steve Onspach and the local fire company who came in and welcomed us on the way back. Yeah. That was a huge, that was just so much fun. It was truly a memorable experience for our students, and I'm sure it'll be one they will not forget, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to wrap up by saying that being a part of any music program is extremely beneficial in the overall well-being of students. It's more than just music. I know marching band alone teaches time management, hard work, dedication, communication, perseverance, and builds lifelong friendships and memories that just simply can't be emulated anywhere else. So for anybody whose child is not a part of any kind of arts program here at Pottsgrove, or thinks that being a part of our arts programs is just too much of a time commitment, I really urge them to just try it. Just try it and just consider being part of something that's bigger than yourself. And I think, these students will tell you that sometimes, yes, it does get hard, but I don't think they would trade it for anything. I think that they would do it over and over and over again, and that's why we do what we do best, right? So huge congratulations to the Pottsgrove 2023 Marching Band, and we look forward to seeing most of our community members on Friday because we will be doing our final show at 6 p.m. in the stadium. So please come out and check us out and see us one last time before the show is kaputs because you will never see it again. So again, thank everybody. Thank you guys so much for having us out. And here's just some of the awards we won this year. Like kids, we can throw those up.
Everybody in here and kind of. You guys are good at organizing.
Can we have the awards up front and everybody else sorority in the back? You have an award. Sit up front. Everybody else in the back. Yeah, can we get the second row to like sorority squad a little bit? There you go.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Same time next year, guys?
All right, we're going to move on to the next presentation.
So continuing in the same theme of excellence, I'd like to invite our high school principal, Dr. Smith, to join us at the podium and introduce some outstanding biology teachers.
Look at that. I just had to touch this one. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us tonight. So just a real quick overview. I'll try to give the 90-second version. So every spring, high schools take Keystone exams. We take them in the areas of literature, algebra, and biology. And so we had our biology teachers. Everyone works really hard and tries to give our students the best chance to be successful. This group went over and above throughout the spring, and they put a new twist on tutoring. So you approve tutors, and we have tutoring after school. So they kind of went one step further, and they constructed a boot camp. And so the boot camp was essentially, I guess it was 7 or 8 weeks. I'm not going to steal their thunder. But they created this opportunity for students, and it was targeted toward, better achievement on the Keystone exam in biology. But it wasn't just, hey, there's this opportunity, send an email to parents, send a letter home. These teachers engaged with families, they engaged with students, and it kind of became like a cool place to be. When I would visit, I was amazed by the energy that these people had after school, not just the adults, but the students. There was anywhere between 20 and 30 students after school for like an hour a day, and they were learning, and they were having fun, and it was just an amazing, really cool experience. So myself as a building principal, I wanted so desperately for these people, the young adults and the teachers, to experience success. And they hit it out of the park. With Keystones, we look at 2 metrics. We look at achievement, how did you do? And we look at growth. And you hear about PVOS from Dr. Finnerty. So a good PVOS score, like a dark blue, I guess, is like a 2. They were like at a 6.2 that probably put them in like the top 5% in the state. Is that accurate? When you look at the big scatter plot, I looked at the big scatter plot, and it was pretty amazing. So tonight we wanted to invite them to sort of tell their story and let the community and the school board hear about what they did to engage students and give them the ability to be really successful. And this is now a blueprint. Our algebra teachers did something similar, but now we're doing it for our retesters in December, but we're already looking forward to what we're going to do next spring. And it was more than just this boot camp. It was how they planned. It was how they dealt with assessments. It was the formative information they used to help students, to get students the help they needed. It was just, it was pretty remarkable. So it's a group that we should be very, very proud of. So I have 4 teachers to introduce. I have Brandy Burwager, Marco Desiderio, Allison Federoff, and Neil Rezowitz. Why don't you come on up, and they will be introducing some of our students as well.
All right, everyone, good evening. Thank you in advance again for allowing us to come over this evening to this board meeting and represent Pottsgrove High School and the biology team. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. My name is Marco, one of the high school biology teachers on behalf of the biology team here as well. To get started, we noticed as a biology team that there was a real need for intervention with students not passing the Keystone exams. And we wanted to be proactive, not retroactive. Also because it was a graduation requirement. In addition to that, we feel that it was very necessary to emphasize that the performance of these Keystones also both affected student graduation as well as school rankings. We feel it's important to make a change in the school culture here at Pottsgrove and to show the students that the teachers are invested in their success, okay, and to show them that they're all able to achieve their goals. Currently at the high school, our schedule doesn't quite allow for built-in time for remediation. It's not something that we are able to basically, fit in the regular schedule. And a lot of students we've noticed need assistance and intervention above what we can provide in the classroom. There also are many students that needed guided practice on the overwhelming information and content that are on the biology Keystone exams as well. So with that being said, we're glad to represent the biology bootcamp program with that in mind, and we created the Bio Bootcamp to help the students achieve these goals. Thank you.
Thank you all for asking us to be here tonight. I'm Neil Rasevich. Our boot camp program ran for 8 weeks, where we had 2 different groups meet either every Tuesday or Thursday after school from 2:20 to 3:45. Out of the approximately 275 students that take the Keystone exam in the spring, we had 64 total students signed up for the boot camp. 55 of those students, which is approximately 20% of all testers, attended at least one session, and our average there were about 17 students per session, so only about 6% of all testers. That being said, the growth that we achieved, that was achieved by our students and the program, was a very small sample size. So we feel that this shows how impactful our boot camp can be if we continue to grow programs like this. During each session, we did a combination of whole class review, station group work, example Keystone questions, individualized study island tutorials, and quiz games. This program also focused on how to analyze text and answer the CRQs, or the constructor response questions, which I just passed out to you. The data had showed that this area is one of the areas where the students struggle the most with the CRQs. Lastly, the biology Keystone is broken down into 2 modules with 4 units in each. Each of the 8-week sessions focused on one of those 8 units, so we could review all the important vocab and ideas per topic. To speak about the program, we asked some of our extremely dedicated students to come by and say a few words as to what the boot camp meant to them and how they feel it helped them be successful. So I'd like to introduce our students, Winter Liebel, Julius Marshall, Ethan Chambers, Chris Reed, and Rawan Musa.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Ethan Chambers. For me, Bio Bootcamp wasn't necessarily a necessity. I didn't need to go to feel like I was going to be able to pass. I went because I wanted to be extra sure that I was going to pass. And through the help of the entire Bio team here at the high school, I was able to pass, and actually with a passing score, I was able to reach the graduation requirements for the Keystones. So Bio Bootcamp was definitely a great experience and stuff like that for me, and it definitely paid off in the end. So, yeah. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Winter Liebel. The boot camp for me was an awesome experience. Ms. Berweger, Mr. Desiderio, Mr. R, and Ms. Fedorov made it fun while reviewing the material that was needed. As a student who suffers from test anxiety, the boot camp helped me feel more prepared, which lessened my anxiety with taking the Keystones, which really helped a lot. I would like to thank Ms. Berweger, Mr. Desiderio, Ms. Fedorov, and Mr. R for all their hard work.
I just speaking in. My name is Julius Marshall. I think the Bio Bootcamp really helped me review and go over the stuff that we learned, especially in the beginning of the year when I forgot some of this stuff. Helped me go over it, and also it provided a fun learning environment for me and the people that I work with. I had a group of people that I worked with that made it fun, and I really liked the food there too. That was a motivation for me going. And now thank you for my mom for forcing me to go at first.
Hi, my name is Christopher Reed. The biology boot camp was a good program for me because it went over material most people forgot when they got home, or students that didn't pay attention in class. And the program was like that extra push for me to have information ingrained into my head. And I'm just thankful to have this opportunity to be part of this program because some schools don't have this program. Thank you, Pottsgrove.
Hi, my name is Rawan Musa. I was never the best at science, so I didn't have high expectations going for in the Keystones, but I joined the Bio Boot Camp and it helped me a lot. If I didn't, I probably wouldn't be here right now if I didn't do well in the Keystones. Without a doubt, the boot camp did help me a lot. So thank you to the amazing teachers who took the time out of their day to do that. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Berwager. I just wanted to share a few reflections looking back from the springtime and also looking ahead. This program allowed us to connect with students individually, which we oftentimes during our busy schedule in our classes, we don't have a lot of time to make those individual connections. It was also nice that we got to connect with students that we didn't necessarily teach in our classroom, so building relationships. It gave us additional time to tailor our lessons to students' specific and individual needs. It gave us extra time to model test-taking strategies. This would help to reduce the students' anxiety they felt going into the Keystone exam. It also was important to demonstrate to our students that our school values hard work, supports our students, and is invested in helping students to achieve their very best. We hope that this program will continue to promote these values in more than just biology class, but it will spread to other areas.
Hello, I'm Allison Fedoroff, and just to end our presentation tonight, we just wanted to reiterate, we are here because we're hoping to bring this positive change here to Pottsgrove. We are committed to continuing the boot camp. Like Dr. Smith said, right now we are currently in the midst of our fall boot camp for the retesters in December. We're continuing to add new tools to our program. So right now we're also using the tool Apex to help with individualized learning for students that they can also continue outside of boot camp. And we hope to continue things like this in other academic areas at the high school. And we also hope that students are continuing to be recognized for their positive efforts because it's their hard work that really is going to let them achieve these goals. And then we just want to thank you all. So thank you to the board, thank you to Dr. Finnerty, thank you for Dr. Smith for the opportunity to be here, Mr. Voorhees for his continued support for the boot camp program, to our students, so Winter, Julius, Ethan, Chris, Rowan, as well as all of the participants that we had for our boot camp program. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, I thought he was going to make us do it.
He got me on this, so I was like, yeah, I don't know. I need boot camp, that's for sure. I think that means good. All right, I'm going to move on to the student. I know, you're hitting the button when I'm on. I'm going to move to the student report for November.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. I'm on my own tonight, but I'll just give my report. So good evening. I'm going to give a quick report that includes some fall sports wrap-ups and some future news that we're planning on doing at the high school and other schools as well. So fall sports concluded last week, maybe into this week, some sports, and the focus is now turned on to winter sports. There was an interest meeting last week during 7 period for any student interested in playing a winter sport. If you missed that meeting, any student that missed that meeting and they're interested, please check your email with information regarding the coaches and other information, or email Mr. Ansbach or that coach that is on that email for any questions you might have. Now that the school is in the second quarter, many clubs are starting to amp up trips and fundraisers. So one of the clubs I'm a part of, Avidum, took a trip to Emmaus High School last Friday. At this field trip, there was a talk workshop, and this talk workshop was in order to learn more about successful strategies for improving mental health within the schools and other fundraising techniques that we could use in our school, that other schools in the area are implementing. One thing we got from that is we are trying to host a talk workshop here in the future in the spring. We learned that Norristown and Springford have Avidum clubs, which now that we know some schools in the area can have the club, we can work with them more. So we're looking forward to getting some partnerships with them going. Other clubs have begun to have fundraisers, and we are currently running a food drive for the homeless, which is a way to earn Color Day points. So basically, you can donate different items, and you can get different Color Day points, and it's all going to the homeless. Although I'm very present in the high school, I wanted to take a quick moment to acknowledge the activities in the other schools. So I've been given the privilege to have an internship at Ringing Rocks. I go to Ringing Rocks every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I intern in a classroom, and I love it. It's super fun. But last Tuesday, I actually went up, and I got to see a little bit of the Halloween parade. I went up during 7th period because I have senior privilege, and I went up there, and it was so fun, and all the kids were really enjoying it. And I remember when I was up there and doing that same parade, and it's just so nice to see that it's still going on. Everyone still enjoys it. Another thing for the community is, I'm not sure the date, I think it's December 9th or something like that. The high school's having Winterfest again, so keep that on your radar if any elementary school parents or anyone in the district wants to come. It's going to be at the high school. There's going to be winter crafts, events, stuff like that. So definitely come out. A lot of kids usually love that. I'll talk more about that, I'm sure, in December and October. Now, last high school news I have for you is wrapping up last week. So this is from Spanish Club. Spanish Club put together a great Dia de los Muertos celebration in the library last week. This is between Spanish Club and all of the Spanish classes. So we all work together after school from 2:20 to 3:45, and we all made posters in all our Spanish classes. We set up the whole the library for 2 days last week, Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday we presented those to all the classes that came in, and we had all types of different events. They could learn about the different heritage and make their own ofrenda and put their loved ones, and it was just super fun and great to see everyone involved. Basically, it helped people learn about Spanish culture and participate in some events that people do during the celebration. Last thing I want to do is give a shout out to the band, because if you haven't seen their show, I really recommend going to it. I've been honored to see it multiple times at multiple football games, and it's incredible. They're amazing. I don't know how they do it, and you should really come out and see them because they are amazing, and you're never going to be able to see it again. So shout out to my band. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Cecilia's not here tonight. She had a prior commitment before the board meeting got moved, but she's going to be discussing the fun upcoming events that have happened since we last saw each other. So football season came to a strong end with our Falcons fighting for the last second at Bishop Shanahan with a 29-28 loss. It was a blast to honor and cheer on the sidelines for our Falcons this 2023 football season. However, our winter sports have had their meetings and are beginning to rev up their 2023 seasons. Our fundraiser for the local homeless shelter, which is what I talked about, is coming up next week. The fundraiser is being held in the library all next week with themed days that lay out specific items in which you are encouraged to donate every day. Some of these items include hygiene products, scarves, gloves, and hats. However, we're also doing a penny war, which is a fun way to raise money for this cause and allows grade levels to also earn Color Day points. Nickels, dimes, and quarters are seen as positive values, whereas pennies are negative values, so grades want to turn the least amount of pennies, basically. The class with the most points earns Color Day points. This is an amazing way to raise money and begin the excitement for our Pottsgrove specific Color Day event. As I mentioned, the Spanish classes put together a Dia de los Muertos celebration in the library, and because of the excitement around this event, German clubs and other clubs have also begun brainstorming their events for their respective holidays that will be taking place in the library in the future.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to report of the superintendent.
Thank you. Just one item tonight. Project Aware. So the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit has been awarded a 4-year Project Aware, which stands for Advancing Wellness and Resiliency in Education, grant by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. Project Aware is a nationwide grant created to develop a sustainable infrastructure for school-based mental health programs and services. This highly competitive grant has only been awarded to approximately 20 entities across the United States. MCIU is partnering with 2 intermediate units on this project, and that would be Luzerne and Carbon-Lehigh intermediate units, to proactively address students' mental health needs. The MCIU's grant project will expand suicide awareness training opportunities for students K-12, implement a universal mental health screener to be utilized by school districts and non-public school staff members, and create an electronic data system to connect school mental health practitioners, psychs, social workers, and counselors with community-based mental health providers that have an immediate availability to support students in all levels of care. Pottsgrove is one of 6 districts participating in Project Aware grant with the IU over the next 4 years. This year, the grant project will be implementing a universal mental health screener to a small number of targeted students at the middle school. The student-completed screener will focus on identifying depression, anxiety, and suicidality to help connect students with services who may not otherwise be identified. Future components of this grant include expanding the implementation of the screener, supporting suicide prevention and awareness training for students in grades K-12, and for launching of a mental health level of care platform. I want to thank Dr. Lucas for her work in getting us partnered with the IU in this important project. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to approval of the minutes. I need a motion.
Is it on? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion that we approve 7-1 and 7-2.
I have a motion and a second to approve both minutes. Anybody have any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to receiving the accounts.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the high school, middle school, and cafeteria accounts as presented.
I have a motion and a second to approve the receiving the accounts. Anybody have any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to granting of the orders.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the payments of invoices in the amount of $2,008,364.65 for October 2023 as presented.
I have a motion and a second to approve paying our bills for October. Anybody have any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the treasurer's report.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report for October 2023 and file it for audit.
I have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer report and file it for audit. Anybody any comments or questions on that? All right, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to personnel.
That beeping's really getting me. I'd like to make a motion that we approve 11.1 through 11.10.
I have a motion and a second to approve all action items here for personnel. Anybody have any comments or questions on any of them? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to item 12.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 12.1 by itself.
I have a motion and a second to approve action item 12.1, budget transfers. Do we have any comments or questions on that? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to 12.2.
I'd like to make a motion we approve 12.2 by itself.
I have a motion and a second to approve 12.2. Do we have any comments or questions on that one? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to 12.3.
I'd like to make a motion we approve 12.3 by itself.
I have a motion and a second to approve 12.3, the CMTA. Anybody have any comments or questions on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to 12.4.
I'd like to make a motion we approve 12.4 with an explanation for the community.
I have a motion and a second to approve 12.4, or we're going to have an explanation because this is what we discussed in operations right prior to the meeting.
So at a prior board meeting, we had approved the lowest bid for installation of fencing at Ringing Rocks Playground. There was a discrepancy with the bid, and with the contractor who was awarded the bid, needed to recalculate the linear feet, needed to accomplish the job, and after recalibrating the linear feet necessary, they were no longer the lowest bid, at which point we informed them that we would be ending the contract with them and awarding the bid to the new lowest contractor, and that's what's before you this evening.
Anybody else have any comments, questions? Okay, so all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to 12.5.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 12.5, again with an explanation for the community.
I have a motion and a second for 12.5. Go ahead. P. McGrath.
So the administration is recommending that the district enter into an agreement to accept the PA Emergency Management Agency grant. This grant is being offered through the Governor's Office in agreement with CoFence Incorporated. This grant will provide funds, amount yet to be determined, that will be applied to purchasing district-wide licensing for the CoFence fishing exercises and security awareness training.
Anybody have any comments or questions on that one? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We're on 12.6.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve 12.6, again with an explanation for the community.
We have a motion and a second to approve 12.6. Go ahead.
So earlier in my report of the superintendent, I talked about Project Ware. This is the vehicle, the board action necessary to enter into that agreement. And this is, again, the four-year partnership with MCIU to partner with mental health support for our students and staff.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We're on 12.7.
I'd like to make a motion, we combine and approve 12.7 through 12.9.
I have a motion and a second to combine the remaining items under business, action item of business. Anybody have any comments or questions on those three? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're going to move to action items 13.1.
I'd like to make a motion, under education, we approve 13.1 and 13.2.
Motion and a second to approve both 13.1, 13.2. Any comments or questions on either of those? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to policy.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 14.1.
I have a motion and a second to approve the policies as were submitted. Anybody have any comments or questions on any of those policies? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the JOC meeting update.
Well, we had a meeting on Monday, and very successful meeting as always. We started out welcoming Dr. Nipper to the JOC, and he got to get introduced to all the other board members and the staff over there. So that was really nice. And he did get a tour, and he started off with the only hat that they gave out, remember? Yeah. So we took care of that. We took care of that, didn't we, Jay? I cannot tell you how much fun we had over there. The most important thing that we discussed was Chapter 339 of the Pennsylvania School Code, which provides standards of vocational education. So I was not able to attend, so I asked Jay if he could attend, and he's going to report out for us now. And thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. As Patty said, Chapter 339 of the School Code gives standards for vocational education in Pennsylvania. You'll see this in the notes that are coming around. It's there. The one part of the chapter says that previously approved vocational education programs must be reviewed for approval by the Secretary of Education for compliance. So it means that once a technical program in Pennsylvania is approved, it needs reapproval. That is to be done at minimum every 5 years, although the code says that the Department of Education can do that review whenever they want, but it needs to be at least every 5 years. So the review for the Western Montgomery County Montgomery Career and Technology Center was held October 24th through 26th. There were 4 evaluators that were there. They were Chris Davis, who is the Specialized Career and Technical Education Advisor from the PA Department of Education, Terry Baller, who's the Director of Career and Technical Education for the Pottstown School District, Jerry Mentz, who's Director of Student Services for the York County School of Technology, and Sean Packer, who is an adult apprentice education specialist with the Keystone Central School District. I attended the last day when they gave the final report out, which was Thursday, October 26th. I have a note there that WMCTC, it's actually been 6 years since they've had a review because of COVID. The Department of Education scheduled it for a 6-year rather than the 5-year. I listed some bullet points here for the results that I just wanted to go over. There's a note there. The results I'm reporting here are comments that were made by the reviewers at the report out. It is not from the final report. The final report is, the State Department of Education allows 30 days for the final report to be given from date of that, which means we should receive it on or about December 27. And then the Technical Center has 30 days to respond to any corrective actions that are in that report once it's received. So my comments here from the review meeting at the center are based on what the reviewer said, not necessarily what was in the report, although we're expecting that the two look the same, what's in the report. So a couple things. First, they stressed how clean and orderly the center was. Paperwork well organized, strong lesson plans, some of them old and need updating, quality equipment, strong networking with the community. The reviewers said that seeing these things made them believe that there is a high standard of professionalism at the Technical Center, and that's a positive example for the students. They said they were very impressed with all of those elements. They saw students engaged in learning, positive culture in the classrooms, stressed that when they walked in, students weren't just in one large group with an instructor, but were spread out in multi-groups with the instructor over in one area with a few students. Very impressed by that. That's classroom management. And the kids knew what they were doing when left alone. They weren't goofing off, but they were paying attention to what was going on. They said that that's a sign that the instructor has provided clear direction, has confidence in his or her role, and demonstrates dedication to learning on the part of the students. And again, said they were impressed. They asked the students, or said they asked the students, what do you like best about WMCTC? And the top answer was the instructors here. The reviewers said it was obvious that instructors at our technical center are compassionate about their careers. All of the reviewers, all 4 of them, said I'd send my kids to this school. The majority of them said that I would teach here. And one of them said it was the top school that they had visited for reviews, because they do this. There are some corrective actions that are anticipated. They include, they saw some items in front of push buttons. Push buttons are usually areas where there's a safety concern, or you can push something to stop equipment or to get a wash to come down to clean yourself. And there was some items in front of the push button that hindered access to the push button, and that needed to be moved. Signage was inconsistent, not clearly visible. Some eye wash bottles needed to be replaced. They were outdated. Some eye wash stations had low pressure. The belief of the administration at the center is that these items need to be corrected, but can be done immediately, and they expect to have them done prior to receiving the final report in the 30 days. One of the things I didn't list it there that they mentioned, there is a standardized test for technical students that is called the National Occupational and Competency Testing Institute, or NOCTI, that is used as the standardized test for measuring achievement in technical education. The Department of Education would like NOCTI scores to appear on transcripts. which may or may not be an easy thing to do when you have 3 sending schools. The reviewers talked as if that would be a corrective action. What administration from the Western Center told me is that is not a written state standard. So while it's a nice to do, it's not a must do. And while they want to move in that direction, they don't think they need to do it in 30 days, but want to move there because of the complexity of getting those scores onto student transcripts at the 3 sending schools. Lastly, at the meeting, there was talk about what do they see as the future of technical schools in Pennsylvania. And they said that what seems to be going on is a movement to create a stronger connection between academic subject matter, which would be the sending schools, and the technical program. So making an explicit connection between the application of knowledge, not just acquisition of knowledge. How do you achieve that? It was an interesting discussion. And they said that ultimately it comes down to communication and coordination between the academic subject matter teachers and the technical school teachers. So you got to get teachers from Pottsgrove and Upper Perk and Springford engaging with the technical teachers so that we can see, here's what you're teaching in math. Oh, that's where it fits into what we're doing in this carpentry shop or in this welding shop or in this sports medicine location, so that students explicitly see the application of the academic knowledge in the technical classroom. And so it's something, and I reach out to Dr. Finnerty there, it's something that I found personally interesting or engaging, and how do we make that happen? The reviewers said that some school districts are using their Act 80 days to get teachers to come together to do cross-planning of curriculum between the academic subject matter and the schools. Has nothing to do with the report or things like that, but part of the meeting was spent talking about just future visioning kind of thing, or what would make technical education even better than it is, also academic education even better than it is, because you make those explicit connections. Pretty much what went on in the report. I think the report that we will get back will make us proud that we have a very, very good technical school here that the district sends students to in terms of what's going on. Questions? No?
Your grandson.
What's that?
Your grandson.
Oh, Patty wanted me to say this because I said there was talk from the reviewers that they were impressed with the things kids were doing to make learning fun, kind of thing. There was pumpkin carving going on that they were there. And I shared with them, because my grandson is at the Western Montgomery Career and Technology Center. I pick him up each day from school, and one day he got in the car and he had this skull cap made out of a piece of paper that it was cut so that it could be round and fit in your head, and it was decorated with the parts of the brain. Now, Zach is a 16-year-old male ice hockey player, so he's not an arts and crafty kind of guy, but he was excited about it and thought that was pretty cool. And I think that any teacher that can get Zach to make a skull cap out of the brain is doing something right. I picked him up a couple days later, and I said, well, I always ask him, how was the high school, how was the technical school? And he always just says, good, good. But he said to me, we iced in cupcakes today. And I said, you did what? And he said, the teacher brought in cupcakes, and we made the icing and put the icing on, and we had to do it in the sections of the brain on the cupcake. And then they ate the brains, I guess, in terms of that. But again, that's the kind of, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen here at Pottsgrove, because I think it very much does. But I was very proud to hear that kind of creative thinking going on with the application of the curriculum that goes on in the classroom. So while he's studying sports medicine, it's interesting that they're icing cupcakes in order to learn about the brain and how that applies to sports medicine and the skull caps. That's what you wanted me to say?
Yeah.
So
I just wanted
it's
to share
just,
that because I just thought that really like.
it's nice as I'm involved with the
is.
technical center that I have somebody personally involved there, so I hear stories from his point of view of what's going on there at least.
But I thought that was a great story, and thank you. You did a great job. Thank you. complimentary. So everybody's excited, and we will have 3 new board members coming on board, 2 from Springford and 1 from Upper Perk. Pottsgrove stays the same. So there you go.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Jay. All right, we're going to move on to committee items. I have 2 items set up for minutes. I need a motion.
Make a motion, we approve and combine 16.1 and 16.2.
I have a motion and a second to combine 16.1, 16.2 meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions on comments on those? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Move on to policy committee report. Jim?
Good evening. All right, I'm going to start with the second policy, supplemental discipline records, which is policy 206.1. This was recommendations from the Pennsylvania School Board Association for revisions to the policy, basically to cover changes that are recommended for legal liability purposes regarding adherences to the rules regarding supplemental discipline records based on Pennsylvania code. So that was the simple one we did. The other one is a little bit more involved, and I might call on Deb to step in here, but policy 605.1, school district initiated tax assessment appeals. This is a new policy that was between the business department as well as our legal team. The idea is that it gives the school the ability, and might need you also, to go in and look at assessments to reassess properties that have increased dramatically in value over time. Just to clarify, this is not something that is geared towards the average homeowner. We're looking at buildings or properties where the increase in the taxes would be at least $10,000, so not your typical home. So I don't know if the two of you have more that Deb does.
The only thing I would add to that is we would only be doing a 2-year look back at properties that have transferred. So it's not like we're looking at all properties. We're just going back 2 years, looking at when a property transfers from one owner to another, whether we're looking at the value of what it was sold at, and then coming up with assessed value based on the common level ratio. And if that would be $10,000 or more per year increase, then we would appeal that assessment.
Thank you, and that was it.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for that? All right, we're going to move on to new business. Dr. Finnerty.
So tonight, as you may know, is Mr. Al Leach's last meeting with us. And in my 2.5 years here, it's been my pleasure to have him as the board president for most of that period. Not that I'm happy for most of the period, but you were president for most of the period. And an appreciation of the service to the community and to the district. We got you a little gift. What's that? I do care about this stuff. I'll let you take the rest of that off.
Very nice. Oh my God! Yeah, that's really cool. I have to admit, that is really cool. That will get displayed. That goes right next. I have a falcon. I have the. Tina.
Like to add yours? Yeah. So it can be part of new business too. Yes. So I've shared before, there's no crying in school board, so I'm not going to get teary. But it has been an absolute joy, and I've learned so much. You've been a wonderful mentor. You've served this community through some really tough times, and you've been unwavering, and it's a sacrifice, and I recognize that, and I appreciate that. And I added some Rolos to the bag because, you deserve them.
I do like Rolos.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I do eventually want to come back and ask you how school's gone, But I guess we should probably go around and do the Rolos and do the thank yous because, you know, you absolutely deserve it. And thank you, Al, for everything.
I see a lot of chocolate. Bag of Rolos? We're putting the budget some snacks. Snacks. Another bag of Rolos. Hey, it's this way. Another thing, sometimes comes from Rolos. Rolos. More Rolos. All right, just so everybody understands why so many Rolos. Everybody understands why so many Rolos, right? I have a common thing. We used to have snacks, and in those snacks, I always asked for Rolos. So we would always make sure that we had enough Rolos because it was a running joke here on the board for a couple of years. So I appreciate all this. And I will speak at the end, though. Tina, new business.
Donated that blow up for the kids to use for graduation, football games. So every time I see that, I'll think of you guys. And also your support for the Cancer Center. You were there with my journey and you helped with all that. So I just wish you the very best in the future.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Al, thank you for your leadership. I said to you in the email, and I say it publicly, I will remember and commend you for your passion to being clear in your communication to the public about the whys and the reasons for what we're doing. I could count on both hands the number of times you take the time to say, now let me be really clear, this is why we're making this decision, and this is why this is what we're doing. You understand your role to serve the public and to be clear to the public. And I will remember that and hopefully learn from that. I think you do it well, and I appreciate that.
I can say something. I can say something. I've witnessed you enough over the years to be able to say something. So this is my first meeting and your last. And I will say, having sat in the audience for 2 years plus and followed everything, you've always carried your position with humility and honesty. And I hope that is something that carries forward in all the new board members as well, including myself. And I just want to wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Al, I think you've done a terrific job. I've watched you grow in the last couple of years. You've been a great source of advice when I've encountered problems. So I think I wish you well in the future. And I think you've been a terrific asset to the district. And you've helped us through some very difficult times, through COVID and through the transition of leadership, and you've done an excellent job. So, good luck.
Come on around.
All right, well, all right, well, I can say one thing. Well, as one of the people who I assume voted to get me on this board, I not only appreciate it, but I do also think that listening to you for the past 2 years and being on the same journey with you, I think you've always spoken with passion and very directly, and has always told the audience and the community exactly how it is, and I think that's very honorable. And I really do. I think the community appreciates it as well as I appreciate it. So I wish you the best of luck.
And 8 years serving with you, as well as prior to that running with you. It's always been very pleasurable. It's been an amazing time with you. I've really enjoyed our conversations over the years. Even when we were out at Upper Pottsgrove waiting, pushing ourselves for the vote, and Amanda costed us, telling us that we got paid to be school board directors, including new cars.
I want my car.
Yes.
I still have not
Someday,
gotten my car.
I wanted to look for I wanted to look for a Matchbox card for you, but I didn't have time. So, but so even with that, but yeah, but one thing, consistency over the last 8 years, publicly and, like I said, just in casual conversations, it's always been about the students. And for that, I thank you.
Well, I haven't been on the board that long, but I have been watching you for a while through the meetings when they were streamed. And I'm kind of using you as a model of how I'm supposed to behave on the board. So thank you for that. And thank you for your service.
So I'm with Jim. I mean, 8 years, I remember when we all first met. I think we were walking through your neighborhood, I think,
Yep.
getting signatures. And then that one day you and I and Danny went out and put up signs all over. And that was when I really got to know you and Danny as a couple, and like, I just loved the dynamic that you guys had. But through the years, I mean, I think you've been a great president, and you've always just been like solid. I've never seen you waver, which is great. And you've always been very, very fair, and you've looked at both sides, just every time, and said, you know what, I'm going to go with whichever side, or with what the public or the board wants, and I think that's a great way to be. So I wish you the absolute best in the future, whatever you decide to do, and see you around.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope people can indulge me for a second, because I have a lot of people to thank over the 8 years. First of all, for the people that are just signed up for another 4 more years. Patty, you're going for 16. 12. I mean, we got Tanya's coming on for 4 more. Anik, she's not here. There she is. She signed up for 4 more years and such like that. I commend you guys for the effort and the passion that you guys are bringing. The biggest thing about the school board, and for me, for local politics, it's not one person. It's always the team. And no one person is above the team. And it's because you guys have been such a rock for the past 8 years is the reason why we have not had the issues maybe that some other places have had. It's not any individual, it's always about the whole. And you guys were unbelievable to me. But I do have to thank, like I said, if you guys will indulge me. First, I have to thank my wife, Danielle. She has put up with so much time and effort, and I want to thank the significant others and family members of each and every board member here for the time that they allow everybody to be here, and I have to thank them as well. I need to thank some people that helped us with the Pottsgrove Booster Club. So while I ran the Booster Club for 5 years, if it wasn't for Donna Krager, Donna out there, I hope you hear this, thank you so much. Because if it wasn't for you, we would not have been able to donate as much as we did. We were able to donate over $100,000 to the school district. We built the concession stand that's over in the soccer field. And of course, as you mentioned, we donated the arch that you see at every graduation, which almost killed some of our students. So we don't want that to happen, right? In the windstorm, right? I need to thank, obviously, the administration team. You guys have been amazing. I'm going to single one person out. Dr. Finnerty, sorry about this. I've been working with you. I'm going to single out Daniel. Daniel Voorhis has been an unbelievable asset to me and the board, and how long you've been here working with our curriculum program. I don't think our curriculum would be as strong as it is without you as the leader for that program. So I thank you so much for that. So thank you for that. Other than that, I also need to thank, and I'm going to apologize a little bit on this one. Anik, not for you, I want to apologize. What you're going to see and what Tanya's going to see coming on board on what you think as sitting down as a representative on this as a community member, and then when you come and sit here, it's a whole different world and what you learn. And back when we ran on the ACT team, I may have been a little, I was harsh on some school board members that were here prior, and I apologize because they didn't deserve what I did. So I apologize 100% to Dee Gallion. I apologize to Justin Valentine. I apologize to Mike Neifert. I apologize to Dave Faulkner. I apologize to you, Patty, because back then, we were not the nicest at all. And I understand back then we thought it was politics. You ran against somebody and you went against them and stuff like that. And I don't care whether you disagreed or did agree with things that were going on. You don't understand this position until you're in this position. And so those individuals worked their tail off to also help the district. And I thank them for everything they did for the district before us, because they were actually, your guys were the individual that first created the $30 million new high school. You guys were part of that. So I thank them for that. Other people, last but not least, the teachers at this district. My family would not be where it's at, and my children would not be where it's at if it wasn't for the teachers of this district. I've mentioned it a couple of times, and I know they probably don't hear this because they may not watch or anything like that. But if it wasn't for them, they would not be as successful as they are. So I thank them, and I can't say any more thank you. As you can see, these little things here, they're all from the students I've collected. I have 8 years worth of thank yous from the students. I keep all of them because I am so honored of all the stuff that the students do here. And I make sure that all this stuff is in my basement and we have it all hanging up everywhere. So I thank them as well. That's all I got. So thanks, guys. I hope to see you guys in the future. I'm gonna come around to you again, Tina. Didn't you need to?
Yeah, you're not off the hook. How's school going?
Good news that I got 5 minutes before I walked into this building. I got my first college acceptance letter, which is kind of exciting. Kind of exciting, I know. Yeah, so I mean, at least now, like, I have a backup plan, which is kind of nice. Like, I'm not just gonna drop out. So, I mean, not that ever was the plan, Mom. That wasn't the plan, Mom. But no, it's kind of crazy. Just like it's coming full circle now, and like realizing that, you know, like there's life now, and I have to like go in the real world and major and do something I'm passionate about. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for the rest of the year, the journey ahead. But yeah, school's pretty good right now. Enjoying life. Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to public comment. Do I have anybody here for public comment? I have anybody online for public comment? No. Then I need a motion to adjourn. I'll make the motion. Oh, question?
Dr. Faraday, is there any way I can get the survey data that we took on the climate survey? Because Dr. Smith and I are working on something with that in improving the climate in the high school, and I feel like the data would be helpful. But if it's like confidential, I don't know how that works. But I figured I'd ask.
So we did survey students in grades 3 through 5, 6 through 8, and 9 through 12. That survey is closed. We're working on analyzing the data, and that's going to be part of our next meeting, which is next week.
Okay. Well,
so we have 3 committee meetings next week.
Okay.
At that point, it'll be public.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. And now I need a motion.
I would like to make the motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. A motion, a second. Enjoy Thanksgiving, the holidays. We'll see you all in a couple of weeks.